Just don't F me up.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the shit show. And a shit show it really is today.
That's
This is
right.
People are in for a treat today. We're pretty looped up.
Pretty looped up. Not on anything fun. Just a,
No.
a severe lack of sleep.
Uh,
Severe. That's right. This is Just Don't F Them Up, a podcast by two moms who are also therapists who have no idea what they're doing. And today we have no idea what we're doing virtually anywhere. We're not even successfully talking to each other, and we are um we talk all the time, but
mhm.
today we made eye contact and decided. For background, Miranda's kids have been sick for 7.5 years.
Yep.
Severe fever, like 104, like
Yeah.
serious.
It's been a fun couple of days around here.
Awful. And your kids don't sleep anyway.
Correct. One of them has a legitimate sleep disorder that has been diagnosed. So,
They got diagnosed?
yeah. He
Wait,
has advanced phase sleep disorder, meaning his like natural clock is he wants to go to sleep early and wake up early. Like he's just like off.
what? What do they do for that?
Oh, they told us a whole bunch of things to try that don't really work because then they basically you try to keep him up later so that he'll sleep later, but he doesn't. And then he's just cranky and tired and way harder to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen him fall asleep talking on FaceTime. There's
yep,
no keeping him up.
yep,
He
yep.
just will be like mid playing and then conk out.
And go lay down and be like,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Did you guys do a sleep study?
No, but we did it's called an actigraph. It's a little watch that they have them wear every night from like an hour before they go to sleep through the night and then an hour after.
Okay.
And it tracks like movements and stuff. I feel like it's like an adult Fitbit, but they track all the movement and how much he's waking up at night. And then they said his sleep was like, well, the average wake ups he had was 50 and abnormal was 51. And so he
Oh,
was like right on the edge. And she was like, it doesn't seem like it's like apnea based on the symptoms. So a sleep study wasn't, she's like, it wouldn't really do anything. Plus, kids don't sleep well when they're in the clinic trying to sleep anyway.
right.
Um, so no, she did that. And then we had a bunch of meetings where we just talked about stuff. And then she was able to diagnose from that.
Is that like lifelong?
I don't know. It could be, but she said a lot of kids will grow out of it eventually.
Okay.
So hopefully before long. But
Yeah.
he's so chronically tired, but he's also anemic. And I think so far I'm approximately $78 deep into iron supplements that he hates and won't take.
Oh man. Those
He's the
do taste like bukkake.
Yeah, but even the gummies and the everything, I can't get him to take any of them.
Yeah. He
And
doesn't
so
really
I'm
like eating anyway.
no, he doesn't like anything. So I've been trying really hard to like apparently if you cook with your cast iron, that gets a lot more iron in food.
Okay.
So I've been trying to cook with that and I'm trying to hide veggies in everything that I can.
Yeah, you've done like you send me Snapchats of some of the things you've made. Well, that Hulk mac and cheese, genius.
Mhm.
The quesadillas you've made.
Yep. I try to keep like carrots and I'm behind on doing it, but like carrots and spinach and sometimes some other things, just like I steam and blend and freeze in an ice tray so then I can just like have blended up fruit to put it or blended up veggies to put in stuff. So like
Genius.
on the quesadilla, then I just spread carrot on it,
Yeah.
and they can't taste it. Or
It looks like cheese.
yeah, I just did. They like those little mini naan breads from
Yeah.
Costco, and I put carrot, the blended up carrot and Alfredo sauce, and just mixed it in and put garlic and cheese and bacon bits on it. And they thought that was like, Hendrix was like, "This is my favorite. I love this so much." Like he was into it. So
Oh my gosh. That is phenomenal.
I know he's not getting a ton of veggies from it, but it's better than what he was getting before, which was absolutely zero.
Yeah,
I mean, unless there's
absolutely.
like, does it count as a vegetable if you eat McDonald's French fries? Because he eats a shitload of those.
Oh, I mean, depends on who you ask, right? And so we're asking us, and we say it's a vegetable.
Perfect. He eats a lot of veggies then. Lot,
Fantastic.
a lot of potatoes.
I remember you guys were thinking about doing a sleep study, but we were both like, how do you do a sleep study with a kid?
Yeah,
Adults even have a hard time with
yeah.
sleep studies.
So I think it was that watch was like the main.
Okay.
And then we met with the person virtually for a couple of hours. Yeah.
And did you do the nose surgery?
No, well, he had his tonsils and adenoids out, and
Okay, yeah.
his adenoids were really, really large, um, which I think probably contributed to some of the bad sleeping, like as a baby and toddler. Like
Hmm.
he's been my worst sleeper of all of them, and that's saying something because my kids hate to sleep,
Hmm.
drink all the caffeine until
Drink
it's time to drink wine.
survival of the fittest. Gotta stay alive to keep them alive.
Uh, you guys have had a lot of sleep struggles too,
Hmm.
like similar to what we have. The waking up at 3 or just that phase before, right? You had tonsils and adenoids out, but before
Yep.
that was the like just not sleeping at all.
When Maddie was a baby, she slept really well. And she was a big baby, so she was born at 6 or 10:06. And
Hmm.
they were like, well, bigger babies don't need to get up as much to eat, so you're gonna have to wake her up to feed her. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So she slept and she thrived, and it worked for us. So
Hmm.
I don't know, like maybe I shouldn't say that. Like you should listen to your medical professional's opinion, but I didn't. So
Hmm.
whatever.
I mean, it's not like you're not listening to anything they say. It was using your best mom intuition for that specific issue. And if you get to a point where you know your baby and you're like, okay, yeah, you're sleepy. You're not waking up because you're lethargic and you're just
Right.
malnutritioned. You're just sleepy because you're not hungry yet.
She was eating so much off the bat too that like
Hmm.
when we were in the hospital we were using donor milk because I couldn't keep up, and I was literally pumping every 45 minutes in the hospital. And it wasn't, I'm an undersupplier, but
Yeah.
even still with like she would just eat like one good bottle and then she would nap for like an hour and a half, and then
Hmm.
she'd eat like a good bottle, and her feedings were easy and quick. Like she did a really good job
Hmm.
with eating and sleeping, like literally your only job as a human baby.
She gets an A+.
A plus. I literally remember when she was like maybe 3 months old. This is like a tiny tangent, but I really have been struggling with spirituality for like the last like 10 years. And
Yeah.
at 3 months, I found myself praying and thanking the Lord that she was doing like such a good job sleeping and eating.
Hmm.
And that's like when everything switched.
Because of the fucking 4-month sleep regression.
That's the worst one. 4 and 1 year and 2 years have been the worst for us.
Where, oh, that's what's going on.
Oh my God, that's what.
Why didn't I think of that? That's what's going on.
Oh, the 2 year one. That one, you know, when you Google it and it's like that can last up to 1 week or 4 years. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, really? What a safe range, you meteorologist."
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Ugh.
Yeah, sleep regression. We'll get to that. But okay, so that tangent aside, Maddie was doing great with sleeping, and then like she started snoring, and it got like progressively more severe to the point where like we could hear her from
No.
her bedroom.
Mhm.
So I think she had slept over at my parents' house, and my mom was like, she is like a choo-choo train, like all night, and like that's when we started like kind of monitoring, like, is she breathing enough? And then she was just like, she was sleeping, but it was a very light sleep. She was
Mhm.
waking up. She's always been an early waker, but she would wake up. It just got like earlier and earlier. She didn't want to sleep, whatever. And so I was like asking around to other people if I had the tonsils adenoids out, and they're like, oh, it's such a process. When you go in, they're gonna want to ask you a bunch of questions and they're gonna do a bunch of tests on her. And I was like, oh, this is gonna take forever. We
Yeah.
saw this doctor. Oh, he's the best doctor. I liked him so much. He took one look at her adenoids and he was like, they're at least 4 times the size that they're supposed to be. And
Oh
he was
my
like, literally, it was like a 2-minute appointment. He was like, when
god.
can you? We scheduled surgery in that. And I was like, we're going to do this like a couple weeks. Like, I was expecting this to be like a months long
Yeah.
process. And yeah, so we did the surgery. It wasn't that bad. Like, it was like a week of like a hard recovery for her. But then, I
But
don't
it
know.
wasn't for us, it was not the miracle sleep fix that I was hoping it would be.
Yeah. I think we thought it was like the miracle because there was such a contrast of like she was sleeping 2 hours straight. And we were
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this was it.
Yeah.
But now that we've like gotten used to this new, like, she sleeps for 2 hours and she's up and wants to play. And she sleeps for 2 hours and then she gets up and she wants to play. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's like a fight or flight response happening for her, if there's some sort of like nervous system dysregulation with like ADHD developing, or like, I don't know how that works, but I don't
You
know.
should talk to the people. You should get her in at children's sleep. It was not too hard of a process. I think you have to have your pediatrician send a referral and then they'll schedule with you, but it was really helpful and like just having a sleep person assess it. The sleep has not gotten very much better, but
Mm,
being like, yeah, like he literally has a sleep disorder. This isn't just behavioral. He's not just being an ass.
yeah,
It has been really helpful for my patients.
yeah,
Like, you can't help it. And
right.
like a medical professional met with us twice and monitored your sleep over a 2-week period and told us that. But like
Hmm.
she might really benefit from like some meds or something to like
Yeah.
get her some sleep. And like you said, okay, my therapist brain was thinking, you're like, yeah, sleep wise, emotionally, she's a wild card. Same with Hendrix. Maybe because they don't get enough sleep,
You're right.
they're fucking emotional and out of their minds like 92% of the time.
Yeah. I think that's why they connect so much, because they, when we go to the cabin, they both want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go right to the dock and go fishing. Like,
Hmm.
nobody
Hmm.
else wants to do that with you. But
No.
I think it's really nice for Maddie to have somebody else who is like on the go all the time.
Hmm. Hmm. And I feel like that has to be a flight response or something because
Yeah.
there's no way they can have that much energy all the time when they don't sleep well.
Yeah.
Like they're so tired, but also they're wild, feral.
Severe. It's severe. That's all the things that we've tried.
Ugh.
The list, it's ongoing because now I'm going to call children sleep, but
Yeah.
we've tried yoga before bed.
Mhm.
because I thought, I mean, she just loves to run and jump and be active. So I thought, oh, this is maybe a happy medium. Like, let's stretch you out. You're still moving a little bit, but maybe it's like also calming.
Yeah.
We still do it. She loves doing yoga, but
Mhm.
it doesn't really like calm her body very much.
Yeah. Yeah. We've tried, I mean, okay, so going way back, Maxton was my best sleeper, infant
God bless.
wise. Like, would only get up once or twice. My boys, on the other hand, both went through phases where they were up 8 or 10 times in a night as infants. And like, I would get to the point where I would be so exhausted, I would just cry. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the night, I would just hold them and cry because I was like, I just never get to sleep and it's never going to end. And this night is 14,000 years long. But I feel like I tried all the things, adjusting their bedtimes. Like some things say if they're waking up a bunch, then they're too tired. So you need to make their bedtime earlier and then they'll sleep better because sleep breeds more sleep. Okay, so we'd try that and I didn't see any difference. And we would try, like, I was nursing them both. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe they're not getting good and full. So, like, I'd nurse them and then I'd give them a bottle of formula and, like, pump them full of milk. And then they'd still wake up in an hour and a half and, like, whatever. And I, I'm not gonna lie, the sleep training for infants, I sucked at. I, even when this is just a personality thing for me, I think. I cook, I bake, I whatever. I get out a recipe and it's more of a suggestion
Yeah.
for me rather than like, and turns out when you bake that doesn't go so well.
The
So
science.
I don't bake very often because I don't want to be told that I have to put exactly 1 cup and 1/2 cup of such and such.
Mm-mm. Nobody tells mama what to do.
No. So that I think was part of it is like, oh, you must watch for X, Y, and Z sign. And then when that thing happens, you must immediately start your bedtime routine. And your bedtime routine must be this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, and this. And then you put them to bed. And then you only go back every 4.5 minutes. And when you go back, you can only touch them for 13 seconds,
Yeah.
not a second more. And then you have to ninja roll and slowly creep out of their room and not come back for another 5 minutes, even though they scream. And whatever you do, do not pick them up.
Mm.
Only pat them on the butt, lay them back down. Like I
Yep.
couldn't do it, and I couldn't the the physical discomfort listening to them
Yes.
scream
Yes.
was more than I could handle. And my husband was like, just go then, and I'll do it. Like whatever. And I was like, no, I I can't. I can't. I'll just get up
Mm-mm.
because at 6 months old, in my opinion, I was like, they don't understand. They don't get why I'm not coming. They're upset. And I just couldn't do it. And I know tons of people do it and it works so well. And they are like, how could you not? Because now we're sleeping and it's lovely and wonderful and amazing. And I'm proud of you. Good job.
That's under the assumption that you are of a sound mind. Postpartum mind is so controlled hormonally. You are sleep deprived. When you are not thinking in your frontal lobe, and your frontal lobe is where all of your executive functioning happens. So,
Mm,
pros and cons, making decisions, math. If you do Sudokus,
mm,
that's your frontal lobe, all of that. That is not online when your baby is staring you in the eyes, screaming bloody murder, reaching for you.
mm-hmm,
There, something comes over you.
mm-hmm.
I'm picking my kid up. And then I also, I gaslight myself too, of like, they're only going to be this little for so long. So suck it up and cuddle them in the rocking chair. And pros and cons. I mean, I've done this to myself, obviously, because I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
Mm-hmm. I wish
I'm
I
weak.
could. Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could have, and I wish I still could, kind of, because we still have
If you're in
that.
the 2-year regression,
My God,
I'm laughing with you because so is Emma, but
yeah. I was saying before we started recording, so she's been sick. So like the one night we were upstairs a lot of the night because her fever got up to 104 and I didn't feel like I could just put her in bed and walk away from that. So
that's too scary.
yeah, we were like watching the only show that she will watch, Booba, the worst show in the creation of all shows. The creator of Booba, I could throw hands.
I'll help you.
But so then we spent the night in the living room and then in my bed. So then last night, she doesn't want to go in her own bed. Cries and cries and cries. And so we were rocking, and then she was just so upset, wanted to go out, out, out. And she isn't super clear speaking yet, and also pretty much always has a pacifier in her mouth because I'm just not ready to fight that fight.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what? You need to go out for what? What do you need out? And she was like, snack. And I'm like, you want a snack? Yeah. And I was like, oh my fuck. And so I was like, well, here's my choices. I teach her that we can leave this room when she wants a snack.
Yep.
Or I text Cody and I was like, can you bring down some puffs and an applesauce packet because she wants a snack. So then we laid there and she was so happy. At one point she was like, and then she waved at me, like laying there eating a snack. And I'm like,
oh my God.
so spooked. Like, I'm so spooked.
And if she's looking at you, happy, done. I'll give you whatever you want. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I already give you every, like, the reason I work is to buy you presents, but also if you want to fucking have a snack, man.
Yeah. I mean, we've only been trying to get you to sleep. And by we, I mean me, for at that point, I think it was like an hour and a half. And I was like, okay, let's take a break from bedtime and just have a snack, have a quick snack, have a quick bite. Why not? You know?
Whatever. I've already learned so much. Last episode, I've already been using love and logic stuff, and I'm getting outsmarted more than I care to admit, but either there are wins.
Mm-hmm. Outsmart.
Outsmarted.
Why do they have to be so smart? Why do they have to be so smart?
That's such a, it's like your dream, right? Like, oh my kid is like a perfect ACT and they're going to Harvard.
Fuck no, I don't want them to go to Harvard.
No.
That sounds terrible. That sounds so expensive and far away. And
that's too far away. Yeah. You can thrive at the U of M.
Yeah, why don't you go to nature school and live in my backyard, please? If that happened, why not? Also, go away, but also come back here.
Go away, but go to nature school in my backyard. You just go to school already, but in my backyard so I can watch you.
Like, I want a little break, but I also want you close to me all the time, but also not.
Cuddle, but don't touch me.
Mm-hmm. Need me, but don't.
Stop talking, but there's no sweeter music than your voice. We sound like psychos.
We're psychotic today.
if anybody. So a really popular one we've talked about is the Ferber method.
Where you go in, do your bedtime routine, put them down, and then if they cry, like you have to feed them, whatever, put them down awake. If they cry, you go back after a certain amount of time, and then it gets a little bit longer, and you go back and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And you're I don't think you're supposed to pick them up. I think you just go back in comfort and let them know that you're there and then leave.
I lied. I did the Ferber method then.
I tried it, but honestly, going back and not picking them up made them more pissed off. Like it was worse to go back in.
There's the cry it out method. That's a thing too. So like,
yeah.
If it's got a name, it's legit.
Yeah. I tried it. Like I said, I was very uncomfortable, but it did happen sometimes. Like the monitor volume would be down on
Yes.
accident, and I'd wake up in the morning and be like just sick to my stomach. I'm like, I
Hmm.
didn't go all night.
Hmm.
But I would wake up and they'd be asleep and fine,
Right.
happy to see me when they woke up. But I was like, did you have a night from hell? I don't know.
I don't know. Did I instill trauma in you? I don't know.
Not sure.
That's the whole thing too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have multiple kids, like there's gonna be a time where someone's crying, but you're with the other one. You can't just
Mm-hmm.
leave the other one to go help the like. There's what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, last night I had to do some of that. Like Maxton would not go to sleep, and I, like I said, it was like 2.5 hours of trying to get her to sleep, just the initial time. And so during that, I had to go check on the other two, and Hux was having a hard time falling asleep last night too. So she had to just lay there and cry.
Right.
And even he was like, I don't, I don't like that she's just crying in there. And I was like, me either. But like, I'm with you right now and I'm going to go back and whatever.
Mm, he's so
But
sweet.
I can't, I'm trying to think of the other methods. Like, I know there was a lot of methods. There's one really popular Instagram one that I've heard a lot of people use that's like really paying attention to sleep cues.
I
And I
did
don't,
one of those like hour free Zooms, whatever, with awesome
mm,
little sleepers.
mm-hmm.
She came up with like an acronym of yeah, like cues to watch, and then
Yeah.
it's like a whole routine.
Yeah.
The thing I got out of that though that was is helpful is it's like a laminated piece of paper and it has like tabs at the bottom. And
Mm-hmm.
when they complete the bedtime routine task, they get to put a Velcro star on the task
Ah.
they did. And they really like doing that. So they go through and like do their PJs, do brush your teeth, brush your hair, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a game to get to put the star on.
That's
I
cool.
I liked that.
I am happy for all of the help that's out there now. I feel like now there's a lot more stuff than like even when Huxley was a baby. Like there just wasn't that. It was just like, well, your grandma says she just blah blah blah. And Cody would come home from work and be like, well, my work people say you just have to
Right.
XYZ, and then they'll learn and then they'll sleep. And it, I just, it's all a shit show. I feel like, and this is not to dog anybody or anything or any of the ways. I feel like either your kid sleeps decent or they don't. I don't feel like it's anything that we are necessarily doing or not doing. Like, are there things that are helpful? Sure. And like help teach them healthy sleep habits and a healthy sleep routine? Yes, absolutely. And I don't know the science behind this, so I could be totally wrong. But I think your kid or your baby either sleeps or they don't. And no matter what we do, no matter how much we watch cues and we're this and we're that and we're adjusting, they're either going to sleep well or they're not.
Mhm.
And like that's just how it is.
Mhm. And I think that's one of like as our profession even is developing and there's more awareness, especially with kids. There's so many more diagnostic criteria going into different symptoms, and I mean they're even having a sleep disorder and like having a
Mm-hmm.
name for it. Like some of that stuff is so new. Like 'cause some of these behavioral, um, I don't think it's a diagnosis. I don't know what to call them. These they're
Symptoms?
putting a name to some of the behavioral
Oh, sure.
concerns that kids have, and it's helping people get IEPs and 504s and like
Mm-hmm.
obviously there are enough people struggling with some of these things that we're putting a name to it, and the name allows an access for services, which I don't know how new that is, but it's helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we know the insurance game. Like if you're gonna get any services covered by your insurance, it has to have a diagnosis.
Mhm.
It can't just be this poor family and this poor kid are experiencing these symptoms. The insurance company's basically like, I don't give a shit.
Mhm.
So
Because they don't.
no, they literally don't.
Yeah.
And so the skeptical, cynical part of me is like, well, probably a lot of these diagnoses that we're developing are to play the game of insurance companies so people can get the services that they need.
Mhm.
Like,
So
yeah.
true. That's such a good point. Which also brings us into like again, having resources, having
Mhm,
privilege. Like
mhm,
I know of someone who is very wealthy and paid for a sleep coach for infants. She's based in New York City. They paid for her to come essentially live with them and trained their babies how to sleep. And I don't actually know what the training sounds like. It sounds like she's the one that gets up with them in the middle of the night.
mhm,
That's fine. Like I'm not if you have the resources to be able to do that, fantastic. Like hopefully
mhm.
you're having a lot healthier postpartum life.
Yeah.
That is just like one end of the spectrum though. Like night nannies are becoming a thing where
Mhm,
you literally just hire somebody to do nighttime with your kiddo.
mhm.
And that probably does create a lot healthier atmosphere.
Yeah.
I if I had the resources, I would also like miss some of those moments because there's so many times where I'm rocking one of them
Mhm,
and I just like smell them and I'm like, I can't be mad about being up with you for a couple
mhm,
hours because
mhm,
you are cuddled into me, hold like when they hold on to you in the cuddle too, and then
mm,
you smell it's just like
mhm,
can't.
mhm, mhm.
And then the other side of the spectrum is like shift workers or people who have to work
Yeah.
multiple jobs and your kids sleep whenever they can because you have to
Mhm,
sleep and you sleep whenever you can if possible.
mhm.
And everybody is so different. So different. This country is a great example of how one thing doesn't work for everyone because access to services, resources, finances are so drastically different.
Mhm, mhm. And even like you're saying, like even a daily schedule,
Yeah.
right? Like some people's days don't have to start. I
Mm-hmm.
know this is gonna sound really radical to the two of us because of our kids in our lives, but like some people don't have to start their day at 3, 4, 5 a.m. Like they and their children can sleep until like 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the
Yeah.
morning. Our school district doesn't start until 9. They start school at 9:15,
Wow.
which for people who sleep in a little bit, I'm sure is fabulous. For us, it means I've put in a 5-hour day before dropping them off at school.
Yeah. And then you have to go to work.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This we are lucky because our bus pickup would be it's gonna be like a little bit after 7. But I'm afraid that like the year she starts taking the bus, she's gonna decide to sleep in.
For sure. For sure. I was just listening to a podcast today about um like how you wake your kids, and I was like, this is so what do you mean you have to wake them?
I
Like
literally have never.
you have to go wake them up and then they won't get up? Like what? It's the other way around. My kids are
Yes.
trying to wake me and I'm like, go away.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the night. It's still yesterday. It's not today yet. I try all the things. I'll give
Mhm.
you some money. Go back to bed, please.
There's no they don't want anything from you. They
They don't.
just want to get up. Gosh darn it. One thing that's helped is we got one of those clocks that turns green when it's okay to come
Yep.
wake us up. That has
Yep.
been probably over 6 months of green means go. You can come in. Red means don't
No.
come in and tell me that the clock is still red.
So the clock has backfired.
The clock for a while there was like, but she's into it now. Like,
Oh, literally, I don't remember how many days in, but maybe a week ago, we told Hendrix if he could wait in his room until his clock turned green, that we would pay him some money. Because he's been really into like earning. I paid them $5 each to my boys to get flu shots, and it was the most smooth appointment I've ever been to in my life. It was worth every fucking penny of that $10 to give them each $5. Hucks always does, but Hendrix historically has thrown a giant fit. Is like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. I have to hold him down. He freaks out afterwards. The whole thing. Climbed right up, pulled his shirt up, cried for a second, and then was like, now I get $5. So motivated by money. Fine. We're like, if you can stay in your room until your clock turns green for 7 whole nights, Cody said, I would give you $10. And I was like, I would give you $20. And instead of it just being $20 total, then Hendrix went with, Dad's going to give me 10 and Mom's going to give me 20.
Sure.
So he has $30 on the line for 7 days of sleeping in.
Wow.
I think he's done 3.
All right.
And it's not sleeping. It's this morning at, I think it was 4:55. I could hear him yelling for Cody, Dad, Dad. He didn't come out though, and he waited until 6.
Awesome. Wow.
So even if it costs me $30 a week, I feel like it's worth it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because think about the money you're saving in your own therapy.
Yeah, caffeine.
Whatever you use to cope. You're saving money there. There is like a cost analysis to every decision you make as a parent.
Affordable versus unaffordable.
Oh, ooh, yes. We tried Love and Logic with sleep, actually.
Yeah.
So I said if you want to go trick-or-treating with your buddies for the next 4 days, I need you to not come in the room until the clock is green. And immediately remembered that Megan said you have to follow through with consequences. And I was like, that was way too big of a consequence for our first try. But it's something that she's been looking forward to and really wants to do.
Yep.
So that actually worked. The ways that I'm having trouble is finding things that she wants enough or cannot resource herself to find or use as a consequence. Like, I told her if she did something that I would take her for a special lunch at Cane's. She loves Cane's. And she didn't do it. And I was like, well, I'm really sorry. That means that we can't go to Cane's for lunch. She's like, that's okay. You're going to feed me anyway. And I was like, oh, you're right. Because I have to feed you food. So food is not a good one.
Broccoli. Feed her only broccoli.
I should have done something evil.
But the trouble is, they know where the fucking pantries are. They know where the fridge is. Hendrix is so goddamn ballsy. He will literally be like, I don't like any of this food. And he'll get up and walk over to the pantry and like pull out something else. Or to the fridge. Or be like, I'm just going to have yogurt and milk and a cheese stick.
Yeah, which is what they want anyway.
Yeah. So it's like, you can't win.
Yeah.
They don't sleep. They only eat shit.
Yep.
You don't have any control. I don't know.
That's a good question for Megan when we follow up is not only do we need examples, we also need specific examples for consequences because that's where I'm struggling. It's like,
I mean, I think what we try to do, often the consequence is me freaking out and like yelling at them and being like, oh. But what I try to do is have the consequence be that you didn't earn the thing that you want. That's the consequence. You you wanted to do whatever and you didn't do your end of it, so now we're not going to do that thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good point because that was one of the examples she used was like, well, I'm not going to be able to take you to park because you got me up super early and I'm too tired.
Mhm.
Like I don't have to come up with a consequence at that time.
Mhm. Yeah, because the consequence is they don't earn it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because then you eliminate the power struggle. If you're just like, I'm asking you to do this, I'm asking you once. And if you
Mhm.
don't follow through, then something you want to do later.
Mhm.
That's right. I
Mhm.
torqued that up a little bit.
It's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
because if I'm being honest, I would like to have consequences for them. I would like to be like, yeah, well, fuck you right back, and now you get this.
Yeah. Because that's what I mean, it's like learned, right? Because in our day and age, that was popular for our parents. Our parents were
Mhm.
taught to use consequences in parenting. So it's just
Mhm.
going to be natural for us to think, like, you didn't do what I want, so I'm going to give you a consequence.
Mhm. Mhm.
I realized my mom was using love and logic before it was cool because your shop reminded me of this when you paid the money. My
Yeah.
mom said if I did a strep test, and I have such a gag reflex, I just hate. Bleh.
Yeah.
If I did the strep test without freaking out, she would buy me a Snow White Barbie. That was the last princess I needed.
Yep.
I freaked out, punched a lady. It was a thing. And I was like, okay, let's go get my Snow White Barbie. And my mom was like, no, you didn't do the strep test and
Mhm.
you harmed another body. So
Mhm.
no. I remember I'm almost 36 years old and I still remember that you have to do what you say you're going to do or you don't get the prize at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Was the first
But
Barbie I
damn
bought my
it, man.
daughter.
Damn it, man. That's hard.
I was Madeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time she does something, I'm like, oh, okay. Where'd you get that?
There's me.
It's me.
Turns out I was, am a real jerk because my kids act just fucking like me and they're unpleasant AF.
No, that's not true. You are one of the kindest, most thoughtful humans. You don't let people fuck with you.
True. But what if it's my kids? That's where I run into trouble. They fuck with me all the time. And I have to be nice to them so I don't give them trauma.
We should put that on a t-shirt. I have to be nice to them so I don't give them drama.
I don't want to give them a trauma.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. What a great episode. Sleep. More of the story. Sleep is hard. We don't know what we're doing.
keep
If you have a connection to some sort of sleep. Oh God, this tired's hitting. A
trying.
connection to a sleep specialist. Hit us up. We'd love to interview them to save our lives, but also to help the other people.
I mean, and at this point, I'm open to magic, witchcraft, and wizardry. Um, we could hypnotize them. Like, I'm open to any and all of the things in
Hmm.
order to increase the sleep. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I think the moral of the story is just keep swimming.
But
Yeah.
people who have kids older than us say it gets better.
Yes. Huxley did sleep. He had trouble falling asleep last night, but like it was like 7:30 this morning and he still wasn't awake.
All right.
So that's like kind of great. And I did go and check he was alive
I
because
know.
whenever anybody sleeps past like, 6, I'm like, what's going
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you check on them, you open the door, and then they wake up, and you're like, son of a bitch. My anxiety woke you up. I'm sorry about that.
Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep.
Oh man. Hey, thanks to everybody who's been listening to this. You
Appreciate
do not know how much that means to us when we look at our podcasters app and we see that people listened. Man, thanks.
Makes my heart warm.
Thanks. We're hoping this is helpful for someone somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's just an hour of joining in on our bullshit. Because clearly, looking at the episode today, I feel like maybe it was an hour of bullshit, but I'm still here for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still here for it. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't help anybody, it helps us. So we've got that going for us.
That's the point of a hobby. We've got a lot of cool interviews coming up. We've got a NARM therapist. We've got a trauma-informed therapist that works with adoptees and foster parents. We've got a doctor. So many play therapists. I'm super excited to learn about play therapy because there's so many different options.
Same.
I am
a literal ER doctor is going to come on, talk to us about when do we take them in, when can we stay home and save our money.
Yeah. What remedies actually work? How much should you shoot Tylenol in them? There's so much. We're just excited. We're excited to learn. If you like learning and you like to listen to us bullshit, continue to check us out. Just don't F them up on Spotify, Apple, and coming to you on YouTube. Ooh. You could also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Just don't F us up. F us up. We're already effed up. Just don't F them up. Them referring to your offspring and maybe other children you have access to. Be good to all the kids.
Yeah. Give us that 5-star, because this is 5-star content.
We need 5 stars and we need you to follow us too, because you're the only thing
keeping us
feeding
going.
our feeling good about ourselves.
It's all on you guys. So we've got a lot riding on this.
No pressure. And yeah, we're therapists and we know how unhealthy that is. Okay.
Yeah, we got it. We don't need a lecture. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.